George Verdugo with us today. He's the owner of the world's largest real estate domain and the world's largest space travel domain, visitspace.com. Hi, George. How are you?
How you doing, Craig? How are you today?
Not too bad. Thanks for joining us today. It's great to have you on the show. George is the first person we're going to be interviewing on this show, and what a better person to have. He's been through it all. He's seen domains at the very beginning. I spoke to him earlier today, and in 1993 and 1994, George actually began looking at domains, but unfortunately didn't hop on the bandwagon back then, which I imagine he wished he did, when domains such as mortgage.com and houses.com were available. But he's a true real-life figure of how you can miss an opportunity but then build a new one. And he's going to speak to us today about visitspace.com and his future plans for that domain. So, George, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell people a little bit more about yourself?
Sure, yeah. My name is George Verdugo. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California, and moved out to Kansas City about 12 years ago. And a little bit about me is I grew up in a rough area of East Los Angeles, just a typical guy. I saw value on the internet growing up. Also worked for some big companies in the .com industry, like freightquote.com, where I got to see the power of a .com and how these people are making millions of dollars on .com names. Of course, these domain names are niche markets, and because of that, you know, I was able to tap into the niche markets that I'm doing now. I'm married. I got 6 kids. All my kids are grown. I'm a grandfather, and also I'm a visionary. And that's what I see. I see things that a lot of people don't really see, especially on domain names. And I could get something that people don't see something in. I could make it live and make a good income off it.
So, brilliant. So you're also into real estate, you were telling me earlier, and as mentioned, you own the world's largest real estate domain. Do you want to tell the viewers a little bit about the domain you own and your vision for that domain, and how you came across owning it?
Sure. Yeah. I own probably the biggest real estate name in the world in Latin America, in the United States, in the Latin market. It's casasbaratas.com, which means cheaphouses.com. It's a huge domain name. I mean, I'm talking, you know, it's probably bigger than Remax and Century21, believe it or not.
Yeah, you were mentioning that you get like 6,000, 7,000 calls a month off that.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of calls. I got people Skyping me, calling me, emailing me from all over the United States, all over Latin America. And I'm in Kansas City, of course, and the market's really good here. There's a lot of cheap houses. But I was into doing real estate and flipping and buying properties here in Kansas City. I own another domain too. I own forsalebyowner.com in Spanish.
Oh wow.
Forsalebyowner.com in English was sold for $25 million to the Chicago Tribune a couple years back. I own the Spanish version of it. I started a company here in Kansas City. It exploded with For Sale by Owner, and I went and I started seeing the potential in the Hispanic market. Nobody was tapping into it. Nobody was really capturing the Hispanic market. I saw that casasbaratas.com was available. It was registered in 1999. The owner that owned the domain name was a broker, a real estate broker, and never used it. And it took me about 2 years to get this guy, to find who this guy was. And I called him personally, and I bought the domain name. And I've had the domain name for 2 years, and built a site, built a pretty nice global site, which is a WordPress. And what I'm hearing, it's probably the best WordPress site in the world for real estate. Yeah, a lot of people have commented me on that website. And but it's making an impact. I'm making a good living in Kansas City. I haven't even tapped into the other markets yet because I'm here. But my plans and future plans for Casas Baratas is to make it into a brand, a household name, and just be a global force for properties around the world.
Yeah, so it's actually really great talking to you, George, because 2 things you mentioned there, which all entrepreneurs are people who want to be business people, two things you mentioned there are great for them to learn is one, never give up. You followed the guy that owned that domain for 2 years and you made sure that you secured that because you had a vision for it. And the other thing was, um, you know, it's all about seeing a market that you said the Hispanic market, it may not have, you saw an opening there and you took it. And that's the thing. Don't keep looking for a market where there's already businesses. Find one and build it yourself. And that's what you did.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I saw. Is like I said, when I saw that name, I was like, no way, this is so huge, man.
Yeah.
This is like big time, and people didn't see it, but I saw it, got it, and now we got over 31,000 followers on Facebook, and it's growing every day. We should be passing Remax probably by the end of this year. We're catching up to them in likes. Now we're talking about Remax.
Yeah, they're the world's number one.
Yeah,
well,
and I'm right behind them. I'm gonna be passing them in likes pretty soon. Once I pass Remax in likes, then that's without any advertising. That's just natural.
Of course, that's all organic.
Organic traffic. I haven't even, did a billboard or commercials or radio ads, and I mean this is just huge. And so I was able to capitalize it, and now history.
Yeah.
I'm moving forward. I own some big domain. I own ForSaleByOwner.com. I own RentToOwn.com. I own some of the biggest real estate names in the world in the .com in Spanish.
George, just we're talking a lot about domain names, and of course you're taking domain names and building them into a business. But a lot of our listeners, maybe they're not sure what a domain name is. And I'm always asked to explain this, but I mean, what better man to explain it than yourself? Do you want to go ahead and tell our listeners exactly what a domain is? And of course, just like your real estate business and you're generating organic likes, do you want to explain the importance of having a niche specific domain and a domain that fits the business you're trying to build? The importance of having a proper domain.
Sure, absolutely. Well, domain name, in my interpretation, is when you have a domain name, you control the airspace for that term. So anybody who types in Casas Baratas on their on Google are going to find me, which is huge. So, people don't understand a domain name, but it's like almost like, it's virtual real estate. It's that big. People that around the world, everything's being internet. Wherever, you see Mark Cuban, he sold broadcasting.com for like gazillions of dollars. Now anybody who types in broadcasting or any company who does the broadcasting stuff, they're making their money back off, future endeavors with that domain name. So with the domain name, in my interpretation, it's you control an airspace or you control the virtual market for that product. And if people would understand that, people would say, oh my God, if I sell furniture, of course you cannot get furniture.com.
No.
You got millions of dollars. But you could get something to your city, like furnitureKansasCity.com or furnitureLosAngeles.com.
And of course, it's great that you say that because Google now, it's all targeting local marketing. So by getting a domain that, as you say, Furniture Kansas City, you're kind of playing into what Google wants now because local marketing is a big thing, and that's a buzzword at the moment.
Yeah, and I snatched up most of the names in Kansas City real estate markets, English and Spanish. So I already got them. I got them years ago because I knew that because see, when you have a big domain name, like Casas Baratas, everybody wants to capitalize on and ride the wave, and so like we have people, Casas Baratas Phoenix and Casas Baratas Florida, they're trying to control their local markets with that, but it takes a lot of SEO work. It takes work. It just doesn't happen overnight unless you have a big domain name. Like the domains I got, they're natural, organic domain names, so they rank. they rank very well. I mean, I rank number one. I own domainnews.com also. I own domainnews.com, and it ranks number one across Google, across the world, across every Latin country. I rank number one in the world for domain news. So just because I have an organic domain name, domain news is organic. It's people talk about it. So
generic, yeah.
For people who, for example, want to tap into the local markets, it's good to go and try to get themselves a geo domain name, or for their own city, to help them build their business, because that's huge.
Yeah, so for people listening now, just because you want to start a business, and just like we said, furniture.com, just because the name you may want is taken, there's always a possibility to get a geo-targeted name or another, maybe a two-word domain, and start your business there, would you say? There's plenty of opportunity out there still.
Absolutely. There's still a lot of opportunity. I'm picking some crazy domain names still to this day. They're out there. You just got to go and like I tell people, the reason why I feel like I'm successful at a certain level is because I believe in the niche markets.
Yeah.
And so niche, like one of my friends, for example, he's a broker. His name is Kevin Failer. He's one of my partners with domainnews.com. He was a police officer for 30 years, and he built all these little sites. Wasn't really making a lot of money on these sites. And I told him one day, hey, look, man, you're a police officer. You're retired. Do a private investigations. And I went and I found the domain name. I found private ILA for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he put up a site, and now this guy's making all kinds of money. People are calling up from everywhere under private ILA. And so he called me and said, dude, I can't believe, man, I never saw it this way. I go, dude, I'm telling you, you have to, if you're going to do something on the internet, make sure that it's an area where you're strong at.
Of course, yeah.
If you're in sales, get a sales domain name. If you're in building, you get a building domain. Don't be a home builder and then wanted to buy a travel domain name.
Okay, yeah.
You got to stick to where you're good at, and that's what I'm doing. I'm in sales. I've been in sales my whole life, and cheap houses is great. Because I do the selling, and some of these properties I buy and I flip, and then with Visit Space, it's going to take an element of selling those seats to fly to space. Yeah. And so, but I'm in my niche. Sales is my niche, and a lot of my domain names are around sales. Where I could build businesses. I also own I think it's one of the biggest cleaning names in the world. It's not a .com, because the .com is owned by Procter & Gamble, but I own clean.biz. Oh. And the site's up, and clean.biz, clean.biz. It's nice ring to it, and I'm getting inquiries all the time wanting me to do bids on their buildings.
That's incredible, yeah.
But I got it because I'm in sales. I could sell to clean an office. You have to sell it.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm in my niche, and that's what I'm saying. And that's what I recommend anybody who's starting a business, is to stay within their niche.
Okay.
And that's going to help you guys a lot.
So one of the big pointers, like you just said, is if someone wants to get online, they should buy a domain that is on a topic that they like, and they should, if they're starting a blog, they should blog about something they like. Don't try to go into an area that you're not an expert in. And it's just like there's a lot of people want to get online, and I mean, the first start is to get a domain, a catchy domain, a brandable domain, and it's not the end of the world if you don't find the first one that you want. You can try go to a domainer and buy it from them, but it's not the end of the world. It's all about this SEO you do on it, and obviously, as you say, just find a niche and being the authority in your niche. And that's going to bring in money for you, of course.
Yeah, and that's what it does. Like I said, I'm really big in niche markets. That's why I'm going after niche domain names, and it all revolves around sales for me, And so that's what I recommend to anybody who wants to start a business. It's possible. You just got to do it. It takes work. It's not easy, yeah. But now if you want to go into the big game of generic domain names, then you got to spend some money. But it's worth it. You will make money. I'm making money off generic names. Generic is king. If lawncare.com and you're gonna go cut grass, you're gonna conquer the whole city for lawn care, and that's what I'm doing. And I bought visitspace.com. Why? Because I'm gonna conquer the space travel industry. There's nobody could come close to me. And then I went ahead, and I'm a big believer in the vanity number, and I picked up 1-800-76-SPACE, and that's gonna bring a lot of credibility to the Visit Space brand.
Yeah. So we'll move on to visitspace.com because I'm very interested in this. And when I seen you talking about it, I've seen it online. It's been coming up in my news feed on Facebook, and it's a big thing. It's a big domain. And as you say at the very beginning, you had a vision. You got this domain because you had a vision for this domain. You've seen an opportunity. And Visit Space is another buzzword. It's another trend at the moment. We've got Richard Branson, Virgin Atlantic, private companies who are spending billions that want to bring people to space, and they're going to be dying that they did not see an opportunity to buy the generic name visitspace.com, because you are going to own the internet when people are searching for this. And as you say, you got the vanity number 1-800-76-SPACE. What better number to go with the website than the space number? And you mentioned NASA also has a vanity number like this.
Yeah, I think they own 1-800-56-SPACE.
56-SPACE. So I mean, you're competing with them, so you're on the same.
It's kind of like, it's mind blowing that I even got that name. But like I said, I went after it. So when people type it in, it's easy to remember, and it's part of the niche, just like Casas Baratas. I own the vanity number for that too. So if like I said, you want to build brands, global brands, you're gonna have to step up, man. A lot of people have a good domain name, but they don't have the vanity number. I could tell you domain after domain after domain that are huge, but they don't have the 800 number. Yeah. And so I've been pretty fortunate, to be honest with you. And like I said, that my goal is to sell space travel, and to put people into space. It's a niche market, a niche industry. Is everybody going to be going to space? No, they're not. But with that, next week or within 2 weeks, we're opening up another company, and it's woohoo.travel, like woohoo.travel.
Woohoo.travel.
Now, woohoo.travel will be an affiliate of Visit Space. I had to do that because there's going to be a lot of people getting onto Visit Space that cannot afford the flights of 95 to 250,000, the flight to space. Huh. But there'll be a logo at the bottom of the page that would have the woohoo.travel logo. They click on that, they're going to go straight to woohoo.travel, and they'll be able to book a flight, a hotel, cars, and they'll be able to get some really good prices on airfare and hotel fare around the world.
That's incredible. That's another thing that people can learn, is that you're not cemented to the one business you make online, because websites are going to get traffic, that's coming there for a different reason. And you've understood that now. You've seen that people are going to come to visitspace.com to see what all the hype is about, and there's going to be a lot of people that just visit organically, but won't be able to afford the airfare to go to space, like you say. But here's the woohoo.travel. You're like, wait, I'm not letting them go away from my site without generating a lead. They're my leads. So you're bringing them into woohoo.travel, and you're going to sell them onto stuff that they can't afford. So you're not letting anyone slip by you. So that's what people should learn about businesses. You should try to get a product for everyone. And that's exactly what you're doing. It's a cow, and you're going to milk it. You understand it. And people need to understand it too, that they need to offer something for everyone. And that's what you're doing. It's incredible.
Absolutely. It's absolutely. That's what I'm doing. Also, too, with that, we'll be starting bookingwire.com. And so bookingwire.com would also be another travel site, but it'll be, I think, mostly focused on cheap hotel rates. And so that's exactly what I visioned it. I said, this is what I'm going to do. I had a game plan, and so I'm going to put it into action. So this way, like I said, I'm not going to lose those people. And it's going to bring credibility to my woohoo.travel, and it's going to bring credibility to bookingwire.com. So, there should be some sales to that.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
so eventually, my goal, which I know with visitspace.com, I cannot. I would have to hire a team of people to help me sell that the space flights to space. But with woohoo.travel, I'm going to be able to brand it and able to open up like home travel agencies, people that want to pick up the brand on their woohoo.travel, and they'll be able to sell travel from their home, and I'll still make a commission off that.
That's incredible.
So it's going to be huge. What I'm doing takes a little time, but once it goes up, and people are going to see the whole game plan on what I'm doing.
And you talk a lot about branding there. Just real quick, for our listeners, do you want to tell them the importance of branding and online branding? How important is it to a business to succeed?
I believe it's the ultimate. To brand your name is really to say is, look, man, you got to have a unique name, a unique brand, just like anything. Just like if you're into electrical, if you got an electrical name with your city on it, you would have to want to do some branding in a sense where you're going to have to do some advertising in your local market so people could remember you, And so my concept of the branding is first of all, putting the site up, doing some advertising online, and also too bringing it to the forefront and doing press releases, and so people know, look, Visit Space, this is a brand. This is where you're going to go for space travel, and it doesn't come easy. Branding doesn't come easy. It takes a lot of money to brand something. It takes, there's companies that are spending millions of dollars to brand their companies, but they also have like odd names. They have to spend that. That's why I'm going after generic names, or names that people can remember, because it's you're not spending as much money on branding.
Of course.
When you do that.
That's great. Yeah. So branding is really important, and the money you spend on it, you're gonna make back. You have to pay for branding, or no one's gonna find you. The internet's such a big place that you've got to brand yourself, and it's important for credibility and branding yourself as well, of course.
Absolutely, the branding, and also too, remember, the branding comes with your vanity number too. I'm a big believer with when it comes to the 1-800 numbers, the 877 numbers here in the United States. That I'm really a big believer. With woohoo.travel will have a separate number, and I got the 877 woohoo. And so, it's just, now it's a business. Now it's a legit business. Yeah. It's not 1-800-452-7755. Hey, go to 877 woohoo, and I got that number. I got it secured, and I have it.
Of course, you're seeing that more and more on TV when there's TV advertisements, and if it's a number you can't remember, well, then no one's going to ring it. And when you've got this 1800 number woohoo, which transcends your domain name, as you say, it's a business. It's a number you're not going to forget, and it just helps. Why spend all this money on advertising with a number people aren't going to remember? So it's kind of like the number is just as important as the business and the name itself.
Absolutely, and that's going to be the key for anybody who wants to start a business, is to get the domain name and try to get their local number. If you can't get the local number, then you have to go for a vanity number. But don't get stuck, and I really want to bring this up. Don't get stuck paying these guys who lease out the numbers. It's ridiculous. I mean, you're spending $500 a month for a number that's not yours. You're spending thousands and thousands of dollars in advertising on postcards and mailers and advertising in magazines. Then if you ever not pay that $500 a month, you lose it, and whoever else gets it is going to get the business. So you want to get your own number somehow, some way. Easy to remember number where people are going to know, wow, I'm going to call this number. That's what I recommend. I went that route, paying leases on some numbers, and I just stopped it. I just decided to stop.
That's a great lesson, George, for our listeners, is to secure the number, because you don't want to go building a business that if you don't pay your lease, the whole business is taken from you and someone else has all the work that you put in. And that kind of comes back to domain leasing, because I've heard of people who lease domains, and it's the same thing. You could build
Yeah,
a website, you could build a business. If you can't hit that payment that month, it's gone and someone else can buy it.
absolutely. Yeah, you just don't. You want to stay away from leasing. You want to own. Like my clean.biz, I had the number 877 cleaning, which is great.
Mm.
I was paying 250 a month. After a year and a half, I said, you know what, later with this, and I went and got the 85556 clean, and I don't have to pay nobody nothing.
Of course.
You know, the name clean is behind the clean.biz, so it's memorable. But that's what you want to do. You want to stick with vanity numbers that are going to go with your business. That'll be huge, huge for
So,
anybody to do that.
George, we've learned a lot on this call. We've explained to people what domains are. We've explained the importance of getting a domain that fits your niche. We've explained that if you want to start an online business, it's best to go for somewhere you're comfortable with, something you're interested with, and you know it's not going to happen overnight. There is people that can make millions overnight, but that just doesn't happen often. You got to work on it, and you talk about you have visions. If you have visions, you should implement them, and you know, just go for it, really. Would you tell people if they have an idea, just get the domain and just go for it?
Absolutely. If you see something in a domain name, it's available, and it's $5,000-10,000, and you know you could do something with it, do it. I mean, I did it. I'm paying, I'm paying some pretty good money for my domain names, but it's making my money back and hundredfold. You know, so it's not. It doesn't make any sense for you, especially if you're a person who has a great plan, who's got maybe a really good running business and you're making really good money. It doesn't make sense to just be local. You want to be global, and that's the thing. And that's the way I look at things. I am global. I am not local. I don't like the word local. I like global.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're global, that means everybody's going to see who you are. Local, you're just in your own local market. I mean, it's good to be local. Don't get me wrong. But if you're just going to be selling products, why stay within your local market? And you could really buy a domain name and go for local and go for global. That's the big thing. And that's where that's the difference between making your local money and making global money. It's just different when you're in the global market. I sold properties to people around the United States already. I mean, and some people in Latin America, they're going to be flying into the United States to buy properties from me here in Kansas City. So that's just casasbaratas.com.
Yeah.
And now with Visit Space, it'll be a little different. Clean.biz, it's a local, but I could make that a national because it's clean.biz. I could start clean.biz anywhere in the country, and start a business. And
Yeah,
that's the way
I mean, you're not limited to clean in Kansas or kansascleaning.com. You've got clean. That's it. As you say, that's global.
Yeah, that's global. And also too, when you build up these businesses, then you're going to sell these domain names for a lot of money because there will be businesses established behind them. And so that's what I'm looking. I'm building businesses to sell businesses in the future, and just
Yeah,
keep
and that's
going
the
to
other
that.
thing. A lot of people who don't understand what domains are, potentially they're businesses. You can build a business from a domain, and I mean, what price are they at GoDaddy now? $12.99 a year, and people don't understand that. You can just search all day long, find a domain you want, buy it, and then you can easily find out how to set up a WordPress site, put a bit of content on it, start generating visits, share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter. We've all done it. I've been doing it since I was 14, but
Sure.
I try to tell my friends about it. They,
Yeah, they don't see it. They don't see it. And believe me, I mean, believe me when I tell you this. I have a lot of friends, and I'm from LA, and so I got a lot of friends, and nobody's doing what I'm doing. Nobody. Everybody's working behind a desk or have a boss telling them what to do. Uh, you know, they're barely making it every month, and I'm here working sometimes, just chilling out here at my house behind the computer. You're
yeah,
making a good living, and that's the power of technology, the power of a domain name, the power of vision is where you could be at your house and you could spend time with your son all day when he's on vacation every day, and just insane. It's just an insane concept. But like I said, the people don't see it. They don't see it. They don't put any value on it because internet's still new. But this next generation, your generation, my son's generation, all these Xbox kids, these PlayStation 2 kids, they're seeing the power of the internet and the online gaming community. They're seeing the power of the internet and how it's going to happen. Now, also too, I speak to this to domainers because there's a lot of domainers. I own about 1,000.com names, but there are really some good names in there. But there's a lot of domainers that do have .coms, and man, I can't believe they sold that domain name. What? They sold it for 10,000? My God, they should have built a business, man. And I'm like, I would have built it, put a number on it, And one thing I do want to say, you want to build a nice site. Don't build cheesy sites. I'm not into cheesy sites. You look at my sites; they're all really not cool sites. And so I don't play around with I pay people, and the people I hire are world class people that do my sites. These guys are some of the best designers that I deal with. So because I want to give out a good product. I want to look, me, George Verdugo, sitting in a house in Kansas City. When Business Space goes up, people are going, man, that must be a big company, but it's just me.
Yeah.
And you got to make yourself.
I mean, a website is your storefront. So if you build a shop on a main street, you're going to put all your money into, having the nicest shop window so people stop by. And that's exactly what your website is. It's your window to the world, basically.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But like I said, you see it, I see it, but a lot of people don't see it that way, which is fine, but like I said, some of these, whoever sees this interview, I'm not the best interviewer in the world or have the best words in the world, but I'm just a regular guy that tapped into something really great, and I'm so blessed. I'm so happy, that I'm able to make a global impact, and people know who I am. There's not everybody, not the world. I'm not the Michael Jackson or the Steve Jobs, but
you're like Steve Wozniak. You're the quiet guy behind it all.
I'm like the Ronnie Dangerfield of domain names. Nobody gives me respect. You know what I mean? But like I said, it doesn't matter to me, because I know that what I'm doing, with the help of Adam Dicker, and I want to just to give him a shout out. Adam Dicker is the owner of domainforum.com, and his life and his business tactics have really helped me to where I'm at right now. DM Forum is probably the best forum in the world. I know it's the best one. And Adam Dicker is just so nice guy. He's helped me, gave me a lot of wisdom, a lot of advice. And if you guys want to learn more about domain names, go to dnforum.com, sign up, spend $300, get in there, get your feet wet. There's people in there talking about domain names, and you'll learn. He's even got a domain school and everything in there where he doesn't even charge anything. You're just learning from him. And so I wanted to give that. So just to say that I didn't just learn this by myself, but examples like Adam Dicker and Mike Mann and some of these other guys that have big impacts in global markets. These are the guys that I'm patterning my life after.
Well, of course you say that. Like DN Forum was one of the first forums I went on to. Actually, dnscoop.com, if you remember that one.
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
That was the very first forum I went on to 7-8 years ago when I was 14. And that's where I bought my first domains. I met a guy on it. Oh, I can't even remember his name now, but I had my very first domain that I got, and I sold him advertising on it for $10 a month. But he didn't want advertising. He said, look, I'll just give you the $10 and go do up your website. My website was a free template. It looked like dirt. And he said, look, here's $10, go do something. So what I did was I took that $10 and I wanted to buy another domain. I think at the time when I was buying them on name.com, I think it was, they were only $5.99. They were a long time ago. But I remember taking that $10 and I thought, well, what will I do with it? I went to eBay and I found ones that had 3 or 4 months left on them that people were selling for 99 cents. So I bought 10 of them. So I thought, well, I have 10 domains now, and I went back to DN Forum, and I told the guy, I said, listen, would you like to buy any of these domains? The same guy that just gave me the $10, and I showed him the 10 domain names, and there was one in there he liked, and he said, yeah, I like that. I'll give you $100 for it. And this was the same guy, so I just thought, okay, so I sold it to him, and I took that
Sure.
$100. I went on to eBay again, and I bought up a load more, and I kept building my portfolio. Of course, 99% of them expired before I could sell them, but it was
Yeah.
that one $10 investment that I got on DN Forum that has
Sure.
led to everything I have now. I've never, well, I've invested a small bit online since, but most of my money has came from that one $10 investment by just thinking outside the box and going to eBay and buying these and building the brand and building up those domains into smaller websites which you can then flip. And you can do that on DN Forum. They have places to sell them, and
Mhm.
that's what people should be doing. And it's the
Sure.
same when I bought crowdcam.com. People thought you spent $250 on that. You know, people don't understand money. I mean, there's
Yeah.
people spending millions of dollars on domains.
Oh,
200
yeah, they have no clue. And that's the funny thing. You bring that point up because believe me, I have to pay registrations for my thousand domains every year, and so I got to make income for me to pay for that. There's just don't you lose them, and so the funny thing that you bring up is that people say, man, you spent $20,000. I go, yeah. What's the issue? You know what you could do with that? I go, yeah, I could probably buy a nice car, or I could maybe buy a fixer upper here in Kansas City. But I go, but see, I'm thinking that house ain't gonna make me any money globally and or locally. I mean, locally maybe sell it, but not to the point where you have a full blown business, like you said, a storefront. And $250 is very minimal, but people are like that.
Yeah, I mean, the $250 I spent, people were like, that's a week's wage. You know, that's an income. And I just thought I had a vision for this domain, just like you had a vision for Visit Space. The only difference is you're about to implement yours, or you are implementing it at the moment, and that's important. Me, I got sidetracked and I didn't implement. But the good thing about domains, I paid the $10 registration fee for that for 2 years, $20. And I did think at one stage I was like, oh, I'll do something with this at some stage. But I never thought of that $20 as being wasted because I knew if someone else saw what I seen, they'd have to come through me to get it. And that's what
Absolutely.
happened. 2 years later, after a $250 investment, I sold that for $18,500. That's the largest domain I've sold, but that was getting that on eBay. I mean, to me, that was a big sale, and to a lot of domainers, that's a big sale. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people who aren't making that at all, but it just shows that it's not a waste. You hit one on the head, and I mean, you're gonna sell yours, but you're building yours into businesses, so it's not a waste of money at all.
Yeah, yeah, it's not a waste because you're investing and I'm not just holding on to it and sitting there. I could just put business space and put it on the shelf, but for what? Let's let the world see it. Let's let people look at it and just see the allness of wanting to, or maybe one day dream about going to space. I want to be part of their dream. I want to help them. I want to bring you know them the concept of wanting to go to space, how it's in our future in the next couple of years. I think Russia is building a space hotel, I heard, and so it's already being documented. I mean, if you look up space hotel on Google, you'll see that they're going to build a hotel in space.
That's incredible. So you're
And
you're
so,
bringing space travel to the masses, and
oh
you're doing
yeah,
that by having a generic domain. So it just shows the importance of having one, because you
yeah,
can reach everyone.
yeah, and I believe Visit Space is the biggest name in space travel because spacetravel.com is saying you're going to travel to space. That ain't going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
You know, uh, Space tours is another one that that ain't gonna you ain't gonna be going by Pluto and by Saturn, or you're not gonna go deep into it and come back. But Visit Space is perfect because you're going and you're coming back.
Yeah,
You're
you're
busy.
only going for a visit. You're not doing a tour, as you said. And I mean, space tours just doesn't have the impact that Visit Space does. That's what
Absolutely.
I mean. That's why I arranged this interview with you, because when I seen that business that you're promoting, I followed you for a long time. I was just amazed by the domain and the vision that you have for that. It was just incredible.
Yeah, and it's going to be good because I think, like I said, I'm building the Spanish version of Visit Space. It's
Yeah.
visitaalespacio.com, which because I know Spanish and English, and I'm really big in marketing the Spanish market. So I'll be the first one in Latin America to be selling space travel in Spanish.
Wow.
And so that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to hit both markets. I was happy because Visit Space was available in Spanish.com, so I paid only $8 for it. So I was pretty excited that I didn't have to go and make a phone call and say, hey man, how much you want? I want $20,000 or $10,000 for it. That I was able to rig it, and in the moment of rigging that domain name, I picked up space tours, space travel. I picked up space. So I picked up all the good Spanish space travel names. Nobody's even thinking about it.
So
And
if
I
there's
was,
any Spanish listeners today, go buy domains quick, or George is going to take them.
yeah, I picked up some of the biggest ones. Like I said, I sometimes it feels very unique because I figure, what the heck, that's available? There's no way that domain, but I'm thinking out of these millions and millions and millions and millions of Latin people, I'm the one I feel like I'm the only one thinking about this. It's the weirdest thing. Because you go and you hang with it, you go ahead and you buy it for $8, and you just hit yourself on the head. I can't believe that's available.
Mhm.
That's insane. So it brings a fun element to me because I think I'm thinking way ahead than millions and millions of people.
Yeah.
I don't know what percentage I'm in, but I know I'm probably like less than 1% in the Hispanic market that's thinking the way I'm thinking right now.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm just gonna keep plugging forward, and I have another big acquisition coming up pretty soon. I cannot say, but this is one of the biggest names in the world also.
Wow.
And so we're almost there. We're negotiating, and I can't wait to get it. Once I get it, you're gonna say, "Oh my God, you own that one too?" Yeah, I own
We're
this
going
one.
to be having another interview with you
Yeah,
then.
it's a big one. It's a big one. It's about 200,000 searches a month right now on Google Analytics, and on the keyword tool. There's over 200,000 hits a month. During the peak, it's about a million hits a month. So let's see what happens. I mean, I'm gonna buy it. I'm just waiting to get the right number, and I'm gonna snatch it up.
Yeah, that's
But
that's how you do it.
yeah, no, nobody's even seen this domain name in the sense where, um, it's the guy selling it to me. He's a American guy that doesn't know what the heck he's doing. I mean, I'm sorry. I wish I could say the name, but if I say the name, somebody will probably try to buy it. I'm just trying to negotiate it now. But
No, I understand.
that's what I do. I'm buying, like I said, I'm going after bigger domains. I'm letting all my stupid domains go, and I'm just concentrating now. Just buy, invest. It's an investment. It's a virtual investment, and they're worth some of these domain names that I'm getting. They could be worth a lot of money down the line.
And that's what I try to tell people, George, is, you can invest in stocks or the stock market, but you don't control what's going to happen at the end of the day to your investment. The thing with domains, you may feel you're investing a lot, but if you get a name that's generic like Visit Space, I'm not saying that one, but there's millions out there. You could either control it and build a business around it, and you control how much you sell that for, or someone else is going to come along and try to take it. They want to buy it. So it's kind of, domains are important, and people need to understand that this is online real estate. It's exactly like owning a building in the middle of a main street somewhere. This is the exact same, except your market is the entire internet. It's global, as you say.
Sure. Yeah, it's a global thing, man. And a lot of people say, well, I believe, like I said, I believe .com is king. And I tell people all the time, go after .com. Now, if it's a generic .net, do it. If it's a really good one like clean.biz, that's the only biz I have. But I had to buy it. It was just a cool name.
Yeah.
And so I bought that on DM Forum. Some guy snatched it up, and I paid some good money for that one too. But like I said, you want to go after a .com name, and if you do get a .com name, make sure it's what you want to do. Don't just throw it away. If you want to be a freight broker, then buy moving freight, Ireland, or Freight Ireland, or you know what I mean, or Kansas City, truck movers, whatever,
Yeah.
.com if it's available. But that's what you want to do. You want to go after names that you can start your own business. That's going to be the key for everyone.
The key is .coms, and I think Mike Mann always says that .com is king, and he stands by that religiously. And the thing is, with all these new TLDs coming out, I'm sure a lot of people I know in Ireland, it's been in the news about the thousands of new TLDs coming out. It's probably sway away from them. The .com will always be the king. It's always just going to be there.
Yeah, it's always going to be there, and I don't care whether new TLDs come out, .flower and .chair, or I don't know which ones are .buzz. I mean, they don't have the same impact as the .com. I mean, it's integrated in our fabric,
Yeah.
in our internet fabric, and in our daily lives. .com.
Exactly. It's cemented in our lives now, and that's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like I said, my daughter, we're starting a new business for my daughter. It's going to be hopefully by the end of this year. My daughter, we're going to do a private line, makeup private line under Julene.com. So I picked up the name Julene.com. I bought it. And so my daughter, once we get her makeup, because it's going to be a private, she'll have her own makeup with Julene.com, Julene on the product. And we'll just do a press release, and that's going to make my daughter the youngest CEO for cosmetics in the world. She'll be 14 years old.
That's incredible.
And see, that's the power of a .com.
I was about to say Julene.com. That's the power. You're not going to have Julene's Makeup Factory.com.
No,
it's about finding that proper domain and putting that on the product. It's like the Trump organization. You put Trump on the front of a bottle, it's worth 10 times more. And that's what Julene's going to be like.
Yeah, my daughter, it's going to be huge. And my daughter's excited. She's 14, and she'll be, the CEO of her own company, her cosmetics line. 14 years old. When I do a press release, you don't think people are going to knock at her door, want to interview her. They're going to want to know what, it's going to give, her an identity, for her. And then I'm starting some other businesses for my sons also. My son's a graphic artist, and I own MediaOptics.com, and I'm going to be setting them up too. So what I'm doing is I'm helping my kids start their businesses also, because I don't want to just do my own thing, but I want to get them started at a young age. So when they get to your age, 19, 20, 21, 22, they're going to be ahead of the curve, big time.
Yeah. And that's important, and that's why I want all our listeners today just to know you missed an opportunity, like we said earlier, in 1993 and 94 to get mortgage.com, houses.com. You could be a multi-swillionaire now, but you didn't give up. You got back in there, and there's always a chance to get back in. There's always an opportunity, and I just want people to know that you may think all the domains are taken because you search for them, but they're not. You can find ways around it, or spend the big bucks and get that name. You're always going to make it back, and it's important.
Sure. Yeah, if you get books, I think Mike Mann has a really good book, Making Millions. Yeah. I read some of it. I didn't read the whole book, but I get the point. I know what they're saying through the book, and also too, like I said, I'm going to be doing charity pretty soon. I own some of the biggest names. I own AIDS.org in Spanish. I own disasterrelief.com and .org in Spanish. So I got some really big names for charity also that eventually I'll be pushing forward, because you want to give back, and that's the key. You just want to just, you make a good living doing this and doing domain names, but then you're not really, there's a lot of people that have AIDS right now in Latin America, and nobody's even tapping into them. There's no website, no nothing, and I own AIDS.org. So we'll be setting up a company hopefully by next year, and an information site to help people who have AIDS, something that you could read in Spanish, and they can go online and maybe help them, help them to connect with certain nonprofit organizations who are going to help them. And
that's really great to know that you're not getting blinded by your success or the businesses you're making. You're always wanting to give back. And I know JT Fox, who's a business coach that I follow, he always says learn, earn, and then return. And he talks about, earn your worth, but then also give back, and it's always good to remember that.
Absolutely, Craig. And if you have those concepts, I mean, you give, it comes back, man.
Exactly.
And I've been, I've been fortunate and I've been blessed, and and I believe is I just went after my passion, man. I got the .com by the horns, and I said I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna make an impact. I'm not gonna sit there and just not do anything. I'm gonna make money. I'm gonna build businesses, and that's what you got to do now. Don't you can't depend. You cannot depend on your regular job. It's impossible.
Yeah, of
Your job could close down at any day, shut down the doors. What are you gonna do?
course.
You know, hey, I control my future. You know, if I'm out there busting my butt, I'm gonna make money. Believe me.
And that's the
Uh,
thing. If you have a domain or an online business, you control your future, as you say. If you're working in a normal job and a business closes down, you've no say in it. So, I mean,
no,
even if someone just does this on the side of a normal job, it's there to support them. And a lot of people, you've heard about it, I've heard about it, people have read about it, that have just left their job and started an online business. Now they're making more than the business they were working with.
sure.
I mean, yeah, it's only a select few cases, but I mean, it can happen.
Yeah,
It's not going to happen unless you try it.
yeah. You have to try it. Like I said, try it. Pick your domain name, uh, and go forward. Join the Inform. I'm going to throw it out again. Join the Inform. That's what really helped me. I saw it. I seen it, and I followed people that are doing something. And so that's where I'm at because of them. I mean, that's the truth. And so I'm gonna be doing some big things, Craig. You'll be seeing
We'll
some
be
big things
keeping up with
coming
you,
up.
George.
I'll be announcing some crazy stuff coming up with, but in early next year. I got another site coming up. They're almost done building it, and it's gonna be another niche Spanish domain name, and nobody has a website for that niche, and I'm just gonna keep going for them. Just keep building, building,
Yeah,
keep doing it
just keep.
until I finally just sell them all. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, George, it's been great having you today. We've learned a lot. I'm sure the listeners have learned so much about business from you. Is there any way people can keep up to date with what you're doing next, or do you want to give them any
Yeah,
URLs they can follow you on?
sure. You can follow me on if you want to follow for anything for space. You can go to Twitter .com/visit space com visit space com. I just set up the site for that one, or you could follow me on my Facebook at George, facebook.com/George Verdugo, which is Berdugo. And you can follow me there on my Facebook, and you can see everything that I'm doing. Cause I post a lot of stuff up there, a lot on there.
Yeah.
Or, if you speak Spanish and you want to follow me at casasbaratas.com, you go to, facebook.com/Casas Baratas, and I got over 31,000 followers there. And then on my Twitter page is twitter.com/Casas Baratas com, com, and I got about almost 16,000 followers on Twitter right now. So, and then those are the places you can follow me at. My Facebook, welcome you guys to visit me, and on DM Forum, I have friends on DM Forum. They call me Big Boy Dog. I'm a Big Boy Dog _0 there at DM Forum, and I really appreciate it, Craig, for the opportunity. I mean, this is technically my first interview, so I'm not a professional speaker or anything like that. I just speak from my heart,
Yeah.
and I speak my passion, and I speak my vision, and hopefully somebody out there will be able to capitalize that and maybe do something big themselves, man.
Yeah,
It's
well, I
it,
definitely think the people who watch this video would think you've done a million of these. It was absolutely brilliant. I'd say people are going to learn a fountain of knowledge from what you've spoken about, and it's been brilliant having you, George.
Absolutely, I appreciate it, and thank you so much, Craig. And we'll be talking soon.
Yeah, no problem, George. Catch you later. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks, George. Bye.